This is your AP Government video on the traditional media. As we get into our chapter on the media, we want to differentiate between traditional forms of media and newer forms. So when I say the word traditional media, we're going to talk specifically about certain types of news organizations. The first ones are newspapers. For most of U.S. history, people got their news and certainly their political news through newspapers. There are still a couple of very large national newspapers like the New York Times, Washington Post, and Wall Street Journal. Now, although less and less people are getting a delivered newspaper today, circulation is definitely down. A lot of these newspapers have transitioned to online websites and digital forms. Newspapers are still very, very popular in terms of employing journalists and employing investigative journalists. The other group that we're going to include in traditional media are the major television networks. This is ABC, CBS, and NBC. These are the networks that are free. You do not have to pay for these networks. You can just put antennas on your television and you can get these without a cable subscription. We're also seeing a decline in viewership of these particular news sources when they have nightly and local news in the evenings, partially because of the competition that they have with online news sources and 24/7 cable news. We'll also add in here news magazines like Time and Newsweek. It used to be that people got these delivered to their home as well, or you could buy them at a newsstand where you would get a newspaper. Lots and lots of people are giving up their subscriptions to magazines. So all of these traditional forms of media have less and less people paying for physical copies of newspapers and magazines or watching more traditional free television stations. And as more and more stations go out of business, you're starting to see a lot of mergers in the media, basically making these really large conglomerates. Although these newspapers that I've mentioned here are still very popular national newspapers, there are statewide and local newspapers from place to place that vary as well. Now, this is just an example of a charter graph, and this is showing you how there's a decline in viewership or newspaper circulation. Now, it says here Sunday only, and then daily morning and daily evening. It used to be that newspapers were delivered twice a day. You got a morning newspaper and an evening newspaper. And many years ago, they stopped doing a 2-a-day delivery and went to just 1 a day, typically morning delivery. The evening deliveries dropped off pretty dramatically. And then, of course, now lots of people are just getting their news subscription in a e-format online, as opposed to getting a daily delivery of the physical newspaper. We're also seeing that more and more viewers in the United States are not watching evening network TV news. So this would be the ABC, CBS, and NBC. They host typically a 30-minute program of national news. It's usually backed up by a 30-minute to 1 hour local news as well. This viewership has been going down, even as more and more people are getting televisions and getting access to cable subscriptions.